What up? I
Here
I
I am.
am.
What up,
What
y'all?
up,
The
y'all?
Native
The Native
Podcast
Podcast
Network.
Network.
What's up, Native
What's up,
Guy
Native Guy
2?
2?
What's going on, man?
Hey, man,
Hey,
where
man, where
you
you
at
at today?
I am in the Lawrence, Kansas studio of the Network Podcast Network.
Okay,
Okay, something like that. That's how we do it. We
that
do
way.
it that way. I don't know how we do it, but that's how it is. He's got that cool background. I like it.
No one pay attention to this side. That OSU cowboy there. Maybe we'll cover it up with this.
Boo, get that
There
off
we go.
camera.
There we
That
go.
is not
There you
allowed.
go. March Madness is coming up, man. I'm ready.
Get
Gotta
that outta
support.
here.
Gotta support the team.
Get it out. Get it out.
So
anyways, what's been going on, man?
Went to Onawa last weekend. Is at Blackbird Bin Casino Powwow. It was good. It was in a tiny building though. It was pretty bad. But it went good. We when the powwow started, about halfway through the powwow, man, it started snowing really bad. So
well,
that's good. That's good.
So what is going on in the Powwow world this weekend? I hear there was one in Winter Vegas, but I had some native reports, the weather report basically. So they said they stopped, turned around because they hit a pothole. Tire. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
But like you said, there's a lot of snow. A lot of snow in Winter Vegas.
Yeah, after the powwow last weekend in Onawa, which is just south of there, a few miles, it started snowing halfway through the powwow. By the time we left the powwow, there was probably about 3 to 4 inches on the ground. And then we had to come down 29. So there was even more snow on the interstate. We got to Omaha, man. It was probably a good, I'd say 5-6 inches of snow on the ground. And then when we got to Omaha, because I went up there with my nephew, he pulled a good one on me. He's all, man, Uncle, I'm getting tired. Can you drive for a little while? Just give me 20 minutes. And this was in Omaha. I said, yeah, I'll drive for a little while. Next thing you know, he woke up at home.
Golly.
So that's his trick. If you're ever traveling with him, my nephew, the Res Runners, Buffalo Lungs, and he says, let me sleep for 20 minutes. He's out for a good 5-6 hours, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's how I tried. I went down to Oklahoma. I thought I was going to get to drive. I was riding with my pops. His brother was with us. He can testify to this. But you know, it's still pretty hard on Tuesday or Wednesday evening,
yeah,
like that. And basically, it snowed hard when we got to Wichita. Then we hit the Emporia. After we got up the hill, I told my dad, I said, "Hey, you gonna let me drive so I can go ahead and make it safer?" It's like, yeah. Emporia, I'll stop. I took a nap. I woke up. She was already halfway to Topeka.
What?
We already passed Emporia. I was like, so you're not going to let me drive until we get to Lawrence? Then it's like, no, we'll see what happens.
Those are them good drives, though. When you wake up, you fall asleep and you wake up either at the powwow or at home. When I was a kid and we'd go to powwows because my dad did all the driving, I thought every powwow that we ever went to was only a few miles away because I'd fall asleep as soon as we get in the car, wake up at the powwow, or I'd wake up at home.
Yeah. I've never had that opportunity because most of the time, since if you have a driver's license, those of you who've been on the powwow, well, if you're the only one with the driver's license, you get to drive the whole way.
I went to California back in September, and I left Topeka. I left Mayetta, Kansas, like at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I made it all the way out to just outside of Elko, Nevada, and I was so tired. I was like, my nephews were with me, and my nephew on the side, I was like, man, I'm tired, just drive for a little while. He's like, all right. We started driving. We pull into Winnemucca, and I was like, you still have your license? He's like, no, it expired. So they still drive even if they don't have a license.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but I was gonna go to Winter Vegas this weekend too, but the snow's supposed to be pretty bad. So I didn't want to go up there and get stuck in Omaha country.
You got good tires.
Yeah, I do.
They're not bald?
No, not yet.
Not real res?
No, they'll be bald halfway through summer, halfway through the Powwow Trail. Yeah.
Okay. So that's about what?
30,000 miles?
Yeah, about 30,000.
Dang, that's a lot of driving.
And then, I got a res ride, so that front tire on the passenger side, it kind of wears on the inside. So when it does that, you just have the tire flipped on the rim, and then you're good for another 30,000 miles.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So what else has been going on in the Powwow Trail with you?
Native guy?
I went live from the Powwow. They had a women's jingle dress contest, winner take all. I went live from Blackbird Bin Casino Powwow with that, and I think I went live twice. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but that was a good powwow. So it was good. And then this weekend was Winter Vegas, but I don't want to go get stuck in the snow nowhere. So now I'm probably going to stay home this weekend and work on my outfit.
Okay. What kind of outfit are you going to do? Make up some duct tape holes?
Yeah, duct tape all the holes in there. Duct tape the moccasins. Getting a little bit more traditional now age on the moccasins. It's gorilla tape, not duct tape. So we're moving up in the world a little bit.
By the way, it's a reminder.
I did my moccasins when I was sport dancing 2 weeks ago there at Asheville.
Oh, wow.
I got to get some senior or whatever in the back. So up the back. I hope I can get it right.
Yep. So on tonight's show, we have someone calling in here in about 2 or 3 minutes here. We have a special guest. This week's special guest is Mr. Larry Sellers. He lives in, I think, Pawhuska, Oklahoma. He is an American actor, stuntman from the Osage, Cherokee, Lakota heritage. He is commonly portrayed as Native American characters, roles such as his most longest run and most famous is he was cloud dancing and in Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Dr. Quinn.
Dr. Quinn. And then he's also have, that's not his Indian name. He's also been in Four Winds, Four Sheets to the Wind, Sacred Blood, Crazy Horse. He was in Lightning Jack. You ever seen that movie with the Paul Hogan and Cuba Gooding Jr.?
I
love that movie.
Yeah.
Favorite.
I kind of figured did because I seen your license plate said Comanche Doyle.
Hey, boy.
Hey.
And then also he was in Wayne's World 2. He was the naked Indian in his Vision. He was on the Fugitive Nights, Danger in the Desert, Son of the Morning Star, Kenny Rogers, The Gambler Part 3, The Legend Continues. Those are some of the movies, the TVs. He's been on The Sopranos. He's been on Beverly Hills 90210, a couple episodes in that. Walker, Texas Ranger, Life Goes On, a TV show from 1980, and it's back from the 80s, so it's been a while. And then he also he was all on Crime Story. So,
what's Crime Story?
It's a TV series from like 86 to 88. He was on episode 1 on the pilot, I guess. So that's what he's been doing.
Okay.
And he also does a lot of emceeing gigs. I've seen him. Last time I seen Mr. Sellers was back in, I want to say June. He was MC. We went to a powwow in Corbin, Kentucky, and he was the MC. So he does a lot of powwows. He does a lot of special guest appearances at powwows all over the United States. Last 2 times I've seen him, he was in Corbin, Kentucky, and a powwow in Missouri.
Gotcha. So, all right.
He should be calling real quick. I seen why he couldn't call in.
Different number.
What? Wrong number, huh?
So he left
a message with somebody randomly if he called in.
That's the thing about natives too. Every native, they only have a phone number good for like 4 or 5 months, and then they get rid of that. They lose that number because they didn't want to pay the prepaid prices, and so you get a new natives get new numbers all the time.
And then you always be screened at that number. It's like, who is this?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Let me see what we got here. This looks like coming from Oklahoma. Hello. We have you on the air.
Oh, wait, no, hey, it's Larry Sellers.
Hey, Mr. Sellers. How are you doing?
Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you for joining us on the Native Podcast. We are so grateful that you're joining us on the phone line. We've got Native Guy with us. He invited us. We're glad for you to be here. My name is Russell. A Native Guy. Welcome. Very welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Sellers?
Absolutely wonderful.
Awesome.
I'm always wonderful.
You're always wonderful, huh? Once again, we just want to. Oh yeah, we just want to say
high wonderful or low wonderful.
Oh, low wonderful, huh? Yeah. I too want to say thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to talk to us a little bit here. Main thing that we want to talk about is just maybe you can. I read off some of your bio already, some of the movies and the shows that you've been in, but I know that's not all you do. So what else is Mr. Larry Sellers about a little bit? A little bit of brief history, please.
Well, I used to teach school. I taught school in Phoenix for a few years, and then worked for the State Department of Education in Arizona, and worked with a panel in Phoenix, incorporating traditional medicine into a Western medical setting in the Indian hospital there. Worked as a stuntman, moved to LA, hustled and worked there, did some odd jobs in between stunt jobs. Wound up on television. I'm a sweet, kind of lovable guy. If you don't believe me, just ask, I'll tell you. But I also do, I'm a traditional practitioner and a traditional pipe release and those ceremonies and stuff. And I run a Sundance here in Oklahoma, and I've been dancing for 40 years. Doing ceremony and sweats and traveling a lot and trying to raise my youngest little girl.
Nice.
Well, that's nice. Mr. Sellers, this guy one. Ask me a little bit about how you started your career, because I do know that you basically have been on many different shows, Wayne World. Let's see, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, The Sopranos. What are some things that you noticed, or how did you get into that acting, basically?
Well, I started doing stunts first, started doing live stunts, and then I learned from some guys that knew how to drive cars, and learned from some guys that did high falls, and learned from some guys that did fire gags. And I used to kickbox. So I kind of planned to walk on there, and and over the years, it's just one thing led to another. I tried to do stand-up comedy a little bit, comedy improv and stuff, and finally wind up going out on auditions for bit parts and then commercials, and I thought, well, I better take some acting classes to do that, because I couldn't act worth a darn. I still don't think I'm a very good actor, but at least I'm functional, other than just being a pretty face in a sex object, that's all I am.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
How I got started.
Yeah, I try to go for movies and TVs, but my mom always said I had the face for radio, so I always stuck with the podcasting. So one of the questions that we also ask our guests is, well, it's 3 questions. You can answer them one at a time. Is, do you remember where and when your first powwow was?
Oh boy, that's been so many years. I'm 69 now, so that's been so many years ago.
Yeah,
it was probably here in Oklahoma, but I don't remember when.
All right.
But we have a thing here. It's called Ilonshka. It's become a ceremonial dance for us, and we're the only native nation that does this. And it's for the month of June in 3 different locations, native communities here.
Oh, cool.
What would be called back then when I started is either had to be a veteran or a son of a veteran, oldest, but it was given to us by Omaha and the Ponca, and they called it Halushka, which was a men's warrior society dance. But we accepted it as a social dance because it was just for men. And as it's grown older and more years we've done it.
Yeah.
Then we have more women that dance on the outside perimeter, but it's mainly a man's dance. But now we use it pretty much for cultural preservation, and it gives the little ones cultural identity when they dress and dance too. So,
oh, nice.
Wow, that's a good thing.
Cool. All right. The second part of my question is, well, it's 2-part. Where do you consider your best powwow and your worst powwow?
You're either too close to the microphone or you're cutting way out.
All right. Sorry about that. Let's see if we can get that fixed a little bit here. All right. Any better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. So my second part question was, what has been your best powwow and your worst powwow? And now the worst powwow, the worst powwow, it doesn't have to be the powwow itself, but just like a bad, funny experience that we've had that you had at a powwow, and what makes it the best powwow that you've been to.
I think being able to dance and not have it be about money or mazaska. It's the more open, the more traditional it is, the better I like it, because it's not about dancing for the money, it's dancing from your heart.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us who we are. It is what's in our heart, not what's in our pocket.
Yeah.
But I'm not cutting down the ones who dance for competition.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, your personal.
They're more than welcome to dance for whatever reason they want to dance.
Definitely. So Mr. Sellers, 69 is the age you were, or am I making?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm 69. I'll be 70 in October.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You've been around the culture.
Hey, I just reached middle age.
What was that?
I said I just reached middle age.
That's good. That's good. So I wanted to ask you, Mr. Sellers.
Yeah.
With your experience in the different generations and changes in cultures with Native Americans, what is one of the things that you've seen changes as our cultures nowadays from the, let's say because I'm an 80s generation guy, I think Native guy too would be the same, around 80s, 90s generation when we were younger kids. From about the 60s, 70s, and 80s, how do you think the culture has changed among our native tribes to what we are today? Have you seen it get better?
Well, I think there's more of a flair and more of a presentation of dance styles rather than back when I was young. It was a lot more reserved. Even the powwows, you know, there were certain dances that were done, and they've grown into various different dance styles now, whereas there's more of a traditional air to it. Back when I was young, you know, they still contested, but it was just a different style of dancing. It was more of a reserved, refined form of dancing, whereas now, you know, a lot of dancers will dance for the show, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or the buzz of ska.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of cultural respect, I think, more in the early days, but everybody didn't dance powwow back then. There were a lot of tribes that didn't. Or, you know, native nations that did not, and they've adapted to that. And you know, like you know, Hopis never really powwowed, but I know a lot of Hopis that do powwow now.
Yeah.
You know, Navajo never really powwowed, and they, you know, and there's well, initially the Wajaji, the Osage people didn't powwow, but that they've adapted to it over the last 30 years or so. You know, so there are a lot more Osages that do powwow, which is fine. Yeah, I like powwows. I just don't get to go to many.
Yeah. Cool.
And that is because of traditional ceremonies or putting people up on no chinjo or omblecha, which is what white people identify as vision quests, or and they go out and pray. And we don't even conceptually in native language, we don't have that concept of pray. We express ourselves to the universe, you know. And then we got Sundance, and we have, you know, different ceremonies, and travel around the country with those ceremonies, either sweat ceremonies or inside ceremonies, the low wampy ceremonies, sing ceremonies. You know, so
yeah,
that's what I spent a lot of my time doing. So
yeah. So when you're doing all these shows and the movies and stuff, how difficult was it to keep your traditional, like going to
you're cutting out on me again, or you're too close? Huh?
All right. When you were can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. When you were doing these movies and stuff and the TV shows, how hard was it to keep your traditional ways and making ceremonies with your busy schedule of Hollywood?
Well, and with the Actors Guild, Screen Actors Guild, the only belief systems that they recognize is Judaism and Christianity. So indigenous practices, ceremonies weren't acknowledged.
Really?
And there are a lot of other religious or spiritual beliefs that aren't acknowledged. They have to be negotiated into individual contracts. And there are a lot of times I've turned down stuff because it was in conflict with those ceremonies. And that's, you know, I had a chance to work on Dances with Wolves, and I turned it down because they wouldn't let me off for the days I needed for Sundance. You know, there's a difference when you're a main character actor than in that if you're an extra. And extras, you know, they can leave and walk off and go to Sundance. Yeah. But I'm under a contractual agreement, so I have to negotiate that in there, and they wouldn't give me the days off that I needed, so I turned the work down. Everybody thought I was crazy, but ceremony and the people come first. Anybody can make a movie. Anybody can, make a TV show, but not anybody can do what we do when we pray.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, I didn't. Now, do you know if they still do that with the Screen Actors Guild? If they only recognize two type of religions?
Pardon me? Say again.
In the Screen Actors Guild, like nowadays, do they still only like recognizing the two religions?
Well, they acknowledge the native traditions, but they don't enter into the contract negotiations. You have to do that individually.
Oh, okay.
You know, so because usually native practices are during the summertime, you know, spring, summer, or fall, and that's usually their best shooting time for movie industry. And my agent used to get mad because I wouldn't work during that time. That's my ceremony time, you know. And I set a certain time period, and so I can either work before or work after, but I'm not working during that time.
Yeah.
I mean, plus, when in doing anything, I wouldn't bastardize what I believe in, nor would I bastardize what another native nation believes in for entertainment. You know, either we present the truth, or I'm able to present what is acceptable within my spiritual value base, or what we present about another native belief system. You know, I'm not going to do it just for entertainment. You know, because they are meaningful, and they do need to be recognized, and they do need to be respected. So I've been fired off stuff. I've walked off stuff, you know, so I refuse stuff. But the excuse a lot of the other actors would use is, you know, well, I need the money. Well, I need the money too, but, you know, sometimes there's more important things than money. So.
Oh, yeah.
And bringing that up, that walking off of
sets like that, was that hello?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure. Bringing that off and everything like that. When the ones who walked off when Adam Sandler was making that, was that something that you had? Were you on that set or anything like that, or did you have any knowledge, or did you have friends or anything who were on that show?
Well, I had friends that worked as extra on the show that lived in New Mexico, and they called me, and I, you know, supported them, and I supported those guys that worked on the show too. It's each individual's choice, you know, whatever their belief system is and whatever their value base is. But for me, I mean, they wanted me to audition for it, and I read the script. I didn't care for it, the way it treated native beliefs. And especially they incorporated, you know, like what I believe in there, and I'm not going to bastardize that just so they can make something, you know. So I turned it down, and then I think it was the New York Times called me, and they did an article about the guys protesting. That's why I support them, because, you know, it's you know, if they want to walk off, let them walk off. You know, and they said, well, they make fun of everybody. And I said, well, that's fine. Just because they make fun of everybody doesn't mean I have to support it. You know, it's I still have hopefully a little integrity to, you know, left in this old body. So, you know, but yeah, I supported those guys that walked off of it. So that's one of the things a lot of people would get mad at me about, that the more established actors, because I treated everybody the same as I treated the lowest extra or people with the crew, just like I did the biggest star or the producer or director. Exactly the same. I treated them as human beings and not because of their position. And you know, it's the foundation of indigenous way of life, and it's called respect.
Yeah.
That's what.
Nice. Yeah, that's it's always you know, like, because as a person that didn't know a whole lot about it, you know, all I ever really see is the stuff that they write in the newspapers or they report on, and you know, they always try to make it sound one-sided. And, you know, it's up to every individual whether they want to be a part of that. I guess it's if they saw it as demeaning or if they saw it as rude, or if they did see the humor in it. That's, I guess that that is up to every individual person on how they feel about it.
Methodist or Baptist or Buddhist, whatever you believe in, it's within your value base, and you feel like you don't want to do it. That's your individual prerogative.
Well said. Well said. So we're getting ready to go into our first commercial break, our first music break. Mr. Sellers, if you want to hang out a little bit and talk some more, or do you have to get going here? Hello? Hello, Mr. Sellers? Oh, yeah, there we go. We're going to go into a music break. Do you have time to hang around for that, or do you have to get going here?
It just depends on how long you're talking about.
About 10, 15 minutes.
About 10 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll hang out.
All right. So once again, we have Mr. Larry Sellers on the line here. We're talking a little bit about over his career and the questions that we have. So at this time, we're going to go into our first music break, and we'll be back here in about 10 minutes.
Weecha.
All right, we are back.
I think I'm back. There, I'm back.
There, now we can hear you. All right, we're back here with Mr. Sellers.
Let's see, I'm here.
All right. So our next thing I wanted to ask was, now that we're back from our music break, is when they talk in movies, a lot of times you hear them in movies when they talk native, you can hear that they're trying to combine like Lakota and Navajo together, or the words that no one's ever heard before. So
yeah,
how do you when you've had to speak native in a movie or a TV show, if you have, what dialect do you usually use?
Well, when I worked on Quinn, we spoke Southern Cheyenne, and we had a Southern Cheyenne translator, and so that translator helped us with the dialogue on the show, so which was actually Cheyenne. Whether we spoke it correctly or not is another thing. But yeah, in the early days, the actors, they wouldn't know anything. So, everybody used the term how, but they spell it H-O-W. And then Lakota, H-A-U is how you pronounce it, how. And it comes out how, But yeah, I mean, there have been guys, I supposed to have been Lakota, in fact, Santee cheese, and a guy walks up and says Redondo, because nobody knew anything about native language, and so they just make up words from the area there. And Redondo Beach was close to him, I guess. So that's what he was saying, or he's supposed to be a Crow or a Sioux, a war chief, and he walks up and says Yatta, Of course, back then they would say Yatta, hey,
Yeah.
So, it's often, language has always often been misrepresented, and believe it or not, what was that movie with the guy from England? A Man Called Horse.
Oh, okay.
They spoke a lot of Lakota in there, and the ones that were, in the background did a great job because they were real Lakotas, it's the main actors that had the problem. And then in Dances with Wolves, my brother Albert Whitehat from Rosebud, he did the translation of the script, and he put the Lakota thought into the translation into Lakota. So it was basically the first film that had Lakota thought incorporated in it, and native thought. And on Quinn, when I worked with the writers and producers, and we try to incorporate native thought into the writing. So we're not presenting a new age metaphysical interpretation of what it was supposed to be, but it was the actual native thought. And because, native language is conceptual, there's no word for word translation in native language. I teach with Osage Nation here, teach Osage language, and I think it's extremely important that today in the words that we use, like, in Osage, we say Witsiko, father, and Lakota is Tonkashila. I mean, they don't really mean grandfather. It's someone that was here first, that's still here in old age, that I love and respect. That's the concept you're conveying when you use those words. You're not using just grandfather. Those are missionary interpretations for their convenience. So that's why, it's really important that the young people or the people who are taking the classes learn the conceptual interpretations rather than just the contemporary English interpretations.
Yeah.
So this is extremely important because it gives you your culture, and it teaches you also your value-based spiritual base in it. So, and people here weren't used to. When I came back, they asked me to teach, and I said, yeah, they said, well, we'll pay you. And I said, well, I don't want paid. They didn't know what to do with me because they never had anybody not want to get paid. And I look at it from the standpoint as I'm an elder of these people. So it's my responsibility to help ensure that this language goes on. And you don't do that for $1. You do that from your heart.
Yeah.
Because that's who you are. That's who we are. So I have an organization called Friends of the Osage Language. And it's for our youth organization, so we can send the kids on immersion trips where they can speak just the Osage language on these trips and get away from speaking English and start thinking conceptually about Osage. And so that's what we raise money as a nonprofit for that.
Yeah.
And I have another nonprofit called Society for the Preservation of Traditional Values. And we use that to support the ceremonies that we have and stuff, and to feed people. Like at our Sundance, we feed a lot of people. We feed for 8 days. Other Sundances don't do that, but it's part of the Osage culture that we feed. So we feed for 8 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everybody, except the dancers. The dancers don't get anything. So they don't get food or water. They don't get medicine unless the spirits say they can have it. So that's what we do. And like that powwow in Jeff City that we sponsored, that's what all that money goes for, to help feed the people at the Sundances and people who need ceremonies and they can't afford ceremonies. We pay for that. People with transportation money sometimes to get to and from ceremonies. And a lot of times I have to go out to do a ceremony. If they don't have the money for gas and stuff, then we pay for that, so they can get that ceremony. Because I don't charge for those things. Those things are a gift to the people. But we have the material things that we have to have, so we pay for the gas money and stuff, and motel, and if necessary.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we do, and that's what the language does, is teach you that moral base and that value base that you should be operating from. And it's not just one month a year or just during summertime. That's all year around.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered the question.
Oh yeah, you did. Oh, yeah. And then some.
That's how we do it. The powwow. We just got to ramble.
On my soapbox here, and I just.
So one more thing is, before we get going here, we don't want to take up too much more of your time. Is do you have like a website or any social media there where people can find you, where they can? How do people get a hold of you?
Well, I think the Society for the Preservation of Traditional Values is at msptv.org. And for the Friends of the Osage Language, we just use the Osage Language Center for the nation here.
Nice.
So, we just plug away and just do the best we can. We don't want to rely on government for everything. So.
Oh yeah. The only thing I ever rely on the government is for the cheese.
Yes, I need my commodity cheese all the time.
I was going to say that old commodity cheese was the best.
Yeah, I don't
know how many chemicals or carcinogens are in it, but it sure tasted great.
Yep. So
that canned spam and canned pork,
Yeah, Native.
It's almost as good as a dog.
So, Native Guy 1, do you have anything else you want to ask?
So, Larry, it's been great visiting with you on the Powwow Trail. One of the things I want to get your thoughts on before we let you get moving too, with the powwows reaching all over the world, we've been noticing, like I said, Trilby and I've been noticing different things in different parts of the world. What do you think of these other cultures across the ocean that are having powwows and using just regalias that they see it on TV and everything. What do you think of those things?
Well, I we must have a lot of legitimacy to our cultures, our spiritual beliefs, because everybody wants to copy it. I don't mind them having powwows. A lot of those people don't know what those feathers are about, or what they mean, or the symbolism of a lot of things. But what it does do, it promotes that humanity. Powwows are supposed to, in that interaction within that humanity, the powwows do for us. We say hi to old friends, we meet new friends, say hi to relatives we haven't seen in a long time. And that good feeling just carries us on. Now, plus those songs, they fill our hearts. Whether they understand the concepts or not, it still fills their heart. And I think that's a good thing. I think that because, again, we don't own this stuff. It's on loan to us from the spirit world. So if they want to use it, I'd much rather see them overall use their own stuff, because I think it can do the same thing for them. But I have no objections if they want that. In fact, I may have a couple of them guys give me some really nice outfits.
No kidding. I've seen some of that work. I would like that too. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, some of them guys really do a great job, But they don't have that spiritual aspect in it. Say if you have somebody beading that's traditional here, that spiritualness that goes into that beadwork, it's just a physical thing to them.
Yeah.
But for us, it means something totally different. So
I like the answer.
But anyway,
that's a great answer too, because it's it makes you give a
view and how we look at it, because again, how we view and see things as different tribes and everything. We all have different views and thoughts, but I thought that was one of the best answers I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was good. Yep, great answer.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people who practice traditional beliefs, and they bead or they do quill work, and they're praying. They can outline your entire life in whatever they're beading for you. They can tell you your high points, low points, what this did, what you did here, what you did there, and that's through that spirituality. Whereas if they did it over there, they just do something that's pretty. And there's a big difference. It may be beautiful here, but it's not perfect, because there's always supposed to be a flaw in everything. Because life isn't perfect. But that's just my opinion.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing that we always tell everybody when we do our shows. Everything that we talk about is based off of our opinions. If we say something talking about powwows like a bad experience, it's not a reflection of the powwow itself. It's just the experience we had. So once we when we talk about on here is everything is based off our opinion. It's our life experiences. So that's one thing that we like to remind everybody when we're going through our show.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been to some that have been invited to as a special guest. Some of the powwows have been things that I've not been used to. I mean, they've been extremely bizarre in, some respects, but it's still their powwow. It's not mine. And they do it as they do it. If I was doing a powwow, I might be doing it differently, but that doesn't make either one wrong or, one better than the other. It's what you're used to.
Yeah. And it's the same way with powwows. Like if I go to a powwow that has a lot of specials, I've always seen and heard people get real aggravated. Like, why are they having so many specials? You know what? They fundraise year round. They put all this effort into the powwow. It's their powwow. They can do
whatever they want.
Yeah, whatever they want.
So, yeah, I mean, but see that comes from our association and colonization process and the forced boarding school systems. That's been passed down generationally. We've learned that from the Europeans.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't want to keep you here much longer. We know you have a busy schedule. So once again, we just want to say thank you for taking the time. And having a chat with us. Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, I'll see you guys down the Powwow Trail here.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely see you at Jeff West. We'll be there this year too.
Echo, don't Sean.
All right, folks, that was Larry Sellers who joined us on the line. Man, a lot of great wisdom we've had these past couple of weeks with the Native Podcast Network. Last week, it's kind of a theme here, Native Guy 2. Last week, Bill was kind of talking about the Sundance 2, and here Mr. Sellers was talking about the same thing and a little bit about that. One thing I didn't know, Osage is Sundance. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. Too much water. Water is life. So, we're supposed to have a greasy weather report here coming up in a few minutes. Hopefully, he'll be able to get in the room here in a few minutes. But
if you have not seen Greasy, he was a live broadcast on Facebook when we was at Haskell Powwow. I was sitting by that drum, and that basically that speaker was behind me. I didn't watch the video, but I guess you could hear what he was saying. I didn't. I was just asking questions. I was just nodding my head.
Well, even when I interviewed Miss Haskell, we was in front of that speaker, and I was afraid that no one could hear us. But when I rewatched the video, you could hear us fine.
Yeah.
So, sounds pretty good. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook. I know a majority of our listeners here are already on Facebook, but you can go to Facebook and add us on. It is, let me pull it up here, Native Podcast Network. Make sure to click that like button. Make sure you always know when we're going live. This summer, we've started off, I go live at powwows.
When we get it right.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, Native Guy. I was laughing there because how long have we been doing the show? We still don't know where we do our shows at and what networks we're on.
Yeah, I think we're going on up to 4 years, almost 3.5, somewhere in there.
And we still don't know. Hey, we do know that this show is our partnership with Get Vocal. Man, it has been so great here. They've been so helpful with what we do. The best thing, too, is about our shows. We do upload them. We are you can hear us on actually 8 different networks when it goes to podcasts, Apple, iTunes, Apple. I guess that is Apple iTunes. You can go to Stitcher. We're on Spotify. We're on publicradio.com. There's 8 different ways to hear us on the podcast. So after this show's done, it will podcast anyways.
Yeah.
We are going to get a Greasy report. So if we got some music here, we can play music for here. If you, wait a minute. Whoa. I see something happening. Let's unlock some rooms here. Let's see if this Greasy guy comes in here.
Yeah. If you
I don't know.
Just grab a spot. Oh, there it is. There he is.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a Greasy report, and the first thing we know, if you don't know Greasy, you're going to get Greasy right now. What is up, Greasy?
Greasy all day, baby. Greasy all day.
So, Greasy, what's been going on? Have you got that fiber grease going yet? You got it on your face?
It's all right here. It's all there. And for the public.
So, hey, folks, ladies on the Native and gentlemen on the Native Podcast Network, we are glad to give you a little We're glad to give our now about time now. Excuse me here. I'm so excited that the Greasy is here. I'm flustered. You got me flustered, Greasy.
You can understand why. I can see.
He's got that effect on men and women, ladies. Is that how it's supposed to be, Greasy?
Yeah. It keeps the dust off.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give a little time, and we're going to get first. He's going to give us the Greasy weather update for the upcoming week on the powwow, and then he's just going to give us a little bit of Greasy knowledge. So go ahead, Greasy. The time is yours.
gonna be cold. That direction. Snagging weather, basically. So you can go, you get there. I do what you can before I do, because once I get there, they're all mine.
So there's your Greasy report.
So wait a minute, Greasy. What's your forecast for the upcoming weekend in the Northwest?
What about the Northwest?
The Greasy weather report. What's the weather like in the Northwest?
Well, I used to live up that way. Rain.
Rain.
What they say, live up there long enough, you'll grow web feet.
So, Greasy, we want to ask you. This is the first time we're going to get a Greasy report. We'll get a few more. Give us some Greasy wisdom.
Well, to be as wise as me, I don't know.
Too wise.
Too much. That one to have Chief Auto Parts, right?
Oh yeah.
Ask the chief.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, me and Greasy had a Twitter account called Ask the Chief, and we used to send it out to everyone to ask the chief, and he'll answer any question you ever wanted to know.
So, am I supposed to ask the chief Greasy?
Yeah.
Always giving out the wrong answers. I didn't get wrong. I thought they were right. I don't know though. I haven't heard nobody says our car was fixed.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you there, Greasy, with the Greasy report. Maybe we'll get back to you next week for another update on the Greasy weather.
That sounds good. You know what? I actually forgot to look at the weather.
What is it doing outside right now, then, Greasy?
It's dark. I can't see. Oh, wait.
Well, that's the Greasy report, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Greasy.
Somebody up above spitting down on us. It's a little bit drizzle. I got more weather coming later.
Just later.
At a certain age, you can start telling what's coming in.
All righty, sir.
All right. Have a flood.
Hey. All right. Are we going to go into more music?
Yeah, we'll go into
all right.
music.
Well, thank you, sir, for being on, and we'll get at you later. We're going to go into a quick song break.
Awesome. Let's get our jam.
All right. Word to your mother, Greasy.
All right. Got some good music going on there. And I was looking up some flyers, but I couldn't find any. So we will tell you a little bit about some powwows coming up, maybe in a couple months or so. Because we haven't gotten many flyers out lately that I've seen. So we have Saturday, April 20th, 2019. Doors open at 10 a.m. Grand entries, 12 o'clock and 6 p.m. Washington University Fieldhouse, St. Louis, Missouri. Head staff, Manny King. Head man, Ryan Redcorn. Let's see. We got head woman, Kyrie Arthur. Head gourd dancer, LFK's very own Tim Robinson Sr. Host drum, Blackbird Singers. Host Southern Drum, Otter Trail. Arena director, Craig Cleveland Jr. And the head judge is Steve Byington. Dance categories, men's, women's, youth specials, fancy grass, traditional straight, golden age, 55 plus. 6 to 15 and tiny tots, boys and girls combined. They have specials of a potato two-step. Potato and two-step. Potato two-step?
Potato two-step.
And then University of Minnesota Twin Cities Spring Powwow, March 9th, 2019, Minneapolis American Indian Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. MC is Jerry Dearly, Arena Director, Choske LeBlanc, Honor Gord, Lakota Women Warriors. Host drum is Iron Boy. Invited drum is Tibba. You know what? I've actually had this conversation with a couple of my singers. We're going to change our drum group name to TBA. That way, when we see invited drum is TBA, it's not to be announced. It'll be my drum, there TBA.
That's how you go everywhere. TBA, every powwow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, you talk about Minnesota.
Yeah.
And we have arguments here, me and my brother. But is it coupon or is it coupon?
I think it's coupon.
It is coupon.
Because if you're going to count coup on someone, it's COUP, right? Q. Count coup. So it'd be ON would be a coupon.
Coupon.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a coupon, ladies and gentlemen, a coupon. I'm thinking like a cue ball, QUE, or is it CUE?
C.
Is it CUE? I have a degree and I can't spell, so my degree is worthless. But anyway, is it CUE?
Seaweed?
Seaweed. What are we talking about?
Seaweed?
Seaweed. Coupon. But it's coupon. That's how you say it. It's not coupon. It's coupon. Back to what we were talking about. Powwows.
Head man dancer at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities Powwow, Ruben Crowfeather Jr., head woman Gabrielle Farrell. Grand entries at 1 and 7 and a feast at 5.
Ooh, I see that Ruben Crowfeather dance. Good one.
Oh, yeah. And then we also have legendary. Oh, that's over. Never mind. And then the powwow that Larry was talking about earlier is Jefferson City Powwow. For the People Powwow, May 25th and 26th at Jefferson City JC Fairgrounds. Jefferson City, Missouri. Everyone welcome. Native American arts and vendors, native foods. Saturday, gourd dancing starts at noon to 2. Grand entry at 2:30. Intertribal dancing. Dinner break at 5 to 5:45. Gourd dancing 6 to 7. Grand entry 6:45. Gourd dancing 5:45 to 6:45. And then Sunday they have gourd dancing from 12 to 2, and then intertribals from 2 to 5. Head man dancer, your very own native guy too, Trilby Wawasik.
I thought it was me.
Head lady dancer is Christina Colbert. Head gourd dancer Justin Topai Hote.
What?
Justin Topai Hote. Hote. Host Southern Drum, Young Bucks.
Awkward silence.
Host Northern Drum is Big Soldier Creek from Mayetta, Kansas. All drums welcome. Master of Ceremonies is Steve Tamayo. Arena Director Ethan Topa. Topahoe. Yeah. And now I'm gonna have some kind of special maybe for mine. So men's traditional, there'll be some kind of special out there. So if you're a men's traditional dancer, it won't be a big special, but I'll have some type of special there. And then let's see, that one's done. Yeah, I think all my flyers are outdated.
Well,
14th annual, April 6th, Muskogee Civic Center. We'll have these on our page.
Okay, there you go. He's like, I stopped reading.
Yeah,
I do want to share something because we're about done here in the studio and everything with Native Guy 2. I got to meet somebody this weekend here, or not this weekend. We're not there yet. A couple days ago, getting some headphones, the ones I'm wearing here, Boss ones on my ear. But the manager or the owner of that store talked to me, and we had a great conversation. And basically, she wanted me to read this off, and we've got some time for this, so we might do this every other couple weeks here just to remind people. But basically, it's called Prayers for Afton, or Afton's Angels. It's a nonprofit organization for scholarships here in Eudora senior high students to help out with school fees and more. The story is Afton was senior to be this year, graduating May 11th, 2019. 2 days after Afton turned 17, which was July 24th, she was in a horrific car crash that left her in critical condition, and then she passed on August 2nd. Afton was a donor and helped many people to continue a good life with her organs, tissues, eyes, and more. And so what they're doing is they're asking for contributions for the first annual poker run silent auction, which is going to happen in July 27th, 2019 of this year. It's going to be held there in Eudora, Kansas, which is up the road from where we are. That's where Afton lived, and she attended school and worked as well. Any donation or gift is appreciated. It can be a tax deduction due to the account, which is a nonprofit. You can make checks payable. They can be made to Prayers for Afton, care of First State Bank and Trust, which is in 609 Vermont here in our nice city of Lawrence, Kansas, 66044. If you do want any donation items or anything, they can be sent to Prayers for Afton, or they can be picked up care of Anita Music, 1037 Cherry Street, which is in Eudora, Kansas. And that zip code is 6625. And Miss Music says she can arrange for pickup as well. And if there's any more information about Prayers for Afton or Afton's Angels, you can reach Anita at Anita Music 64. That's ANITAMUSICK 64 at AOL.com. It says they appreciate greatly any of the products or items for the event. They'll advertise on their corporate board. They do have first annual poker run. There's an entry fee is a $20 per person. It includes a barbecue dinner after the ride, T-shirts designed for the ride. They've got different prices that you can have. Again, it's a nonprofit organization, so they'll give you an identification number will be provided if you do need it for tax purposes. Again, funds are going towards Afton Angels for a headstone, if not already purchased, plus scholarships for seniors of the Eudora High School. Again, she was a 17-year-old who was beginning her senior year there at Eudora High School when 2 weeks prior she was in a horrific car accident where she lost her life. Again, she was a donor who gave her ear, eyes, organs, and tissues for others. Again, to learn more about Afton, you can follow the Facebook page, which is under Prayers for Afton. Again, there's an arts and craft show and silent auction at the same time as the motorcycle ride and everything. They want you to enjoy the ride and be safe. And it's the show is an auction. They're across from D-Dubs there at CPA Park, which is all in Eudora, Kansas. And all this information too, since we want to help them out and everything, we'll put this on our page so they can also as well see that. They have a nice little, I'm going to put this up. You won't be able to see it very well. This is Ashton's, what they have there. Again, so those
you who are watching can see this, but again, those who want to listen to the podcast later on, they will be able to see the flyer that we'll put up and everything for you. We appreciate you for allowing us to mention that on the show and everything, to get that word out, to get you that helping hand as well. So we thank you for that. Native Guy, is there anything else that we have going on?
I can't think of anything.
So I guess we'll play a little bit of music
On the way out.
And then we're out. So we thank you for joining us. The Native Guy 3, we think Native Guy 2, we think Native Guy 1. Again, this is the Native Guy on the Powwow Trail. Cha!